Good morning. My name is Mary Klein. I'm a licensed practitioner at Center for Spiritual Living St. George. Source asks you to have open arms, open heart, open spirit, and open mind during this meditation. Source wants you peaceful and grounded, stress-free, and without fear as you open to amazing possibilities. Now, I invite you at this moment to simply take this moment to move within, and if it feels right, gently close your eyes and breathe quietly. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Fall into this rhythm. Picture in your mind's eye an empty space. A dark space, a place with no parameters, a place with no limitations. Our brains act on imagery, so Source wants you to imagine a place in your mind's eye where no light exists, no dimensions exist, no movement exists, no sound exists, an empty, hollow space. Just a void, expansive opportunity for you to gather your calmness, gather your focus, and gather your intentions of living a fear-free life open to your greatest possibilities. Now open up your mind's eye. Gently bring light into this space. Imagine pure, vibrant light gently coming into focus. Gently coming in from a pinpoint application. Now allow a vast expansion of pure light, all-encompassing light, and now you are sitting in the center, floating in this space of light. The coloration of this light matches your desire for the color you choose to be floating in. There is no right or wrong color. Choose a color that pleases you. Source suggests a coloration that is an appropriate color for you. The color is light, gentle, soft, airy, and transparent. Intensify this coloration by bringing the color to such a vibrant, illuminated state that you actively begin to feel temperature coming off from this light. This all-encompassing warmth or cool temperature directly reflects and coincides to the depth of the light color that is holding you in a gentle embrace, calming all the tension in your body peacefully in passive thought, holding the light space around you. We want you now gently, with your mind's eye, elevate yourself and gently begin moving through the light. This light has encompassed all of this never-ending space around you. Source encourages you to find your own pace. As you move through this light space, gently feel a healing, undulating pattern washing your body, moving in opposition to the irregular pattern of your movement, as if a wave is now encountering your body with each undulation of the light movement. It is sending healing frequencies, healing temperature, and healing movement onto your physical body. Spend a moment in this imaginative light, breathing in and out, imagining these undulations matching your breathing patterns, seeing the vibrancy of the light, feeling the temperature of the light, feeling the momentum of your movement through this light, and the undulating frequency washing your physical body, knowing the feeling of peace, of love, and fearlessness, and knowing you are open to all possibilities. You're now feeling rejuvenated, feeling renewed. This imagery will follow you throughout your day. Peacefully resting in this energy, I want you to go to this imagery anytime you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, anytime you are feeling the need to block out any distractions that keep you from your heart space energy and knowing your divinity. We will sit in silence now for a bit. As you continue breathing, slow your movement down, bringing your frequency into an even pattern that gently matches and marries your own, no longer feeling anything separate from yourself. quietly residing back in stillness with the light around you. This vibrant light is now coming down, back into the light, more transparent state. Continue to slowly breathe as it transcends itself back into a pinpoint application that you are now seeing in the vastness and darkness of this space. Continue breathing in and out. Source blesses your every intention. Source holds you gently in its energy space, cradling your spirit and your soul as it gently guides you into the highest frequency and possibility of yourself. May you find peace in your journey. May you find possibility in all of your thoughts. Source honors your space. Source sends you love and light, as it will be.
There's a treasure map hidden in the depth of your soul. If you find that map and you take that path, it will lead you to the golden heart of hearts, overflowing with knowing and bliss. If you get that far, just keep going, remembering this. Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says. And when the ones you trust to be fair and just turn on you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living St. George. My name is Chris McCardle. I am a practitioner here with us, and we're an open and loving and totally inclusive community. We support thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. That's kind of our premise, and boy, do we do that. We have an amazing group of people that are part of our team here, and here's a list of just a few that will be providing our service for you this morning. Wait, I don't know why I talk so fast when I go online. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. So as you know, we had Mary Klein gave a great meditation. I was a little scared in the dark for a moment, but then she let me bring some light in, and I brought in a really cool color just so everybody knows, but the darkness floating was a little bit of a concern. We have me, the host, Chris McCardle. Our music will be by Cheryl Barlow. As you all know, she's just a wonderful songwriter and musician. And Marina Anderson is she's controlling all the buttons behind the scene, and she's also going to read our Sacred Covenant. And for those of you who don't know what the Sacred Covenant is, it's like a prayer that we say every Sunday until we get a new minister. So doing that, and then to invoke service this morning, our own practitioner, Star Starrett, will be doing the invocation, and our guest speaker will be Joe Kovach, practitioner, lives in Vegas, went to practice school with them, does amazing talk. So hold on tight, get your brain ready and chill. So we always start off with music. I'm going to invite Sherilyn. She's going to get us going and rock us out with God and Me by Michael God. Hey, you girl, how are you?
Hey, good morning, buddy. Love
Okay.
your energy. So glad to be here.
I'm in a rocking chair so I can move.
Yes, you can. I'm on a twisty chair. It's kind of new. I got to stop doing that.
Okay, Eddie, take it away.
Okay, so we are just going to get in that sacred space, invite Spirit to be here with us today, and just a reminder that where we are, God is. God of glory, God of power, God of goodness, God of grace, God of wisdom, God of love, God of life, transcending time and space. God in me, God in me. Now I'm going to invite Star to come in and do our invocation today to pray us in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's service. I'm so glad to be here. And so if you'll gently just close your eyes or just breathe. Right here, right now, I know that there's only one mind. That mind is acting collectively in this service right here and right now. And in that mind, I am invoking the truth that is being spoken of to hear today by Joe and by all of the people involved in bringing this message to you. This invocation is for the Holy Spirit to let you, as you reveal to yourself through inquiry, your highest and best at this time, in the service of our community, in the service of our families, in the service of our comradeship with each other, to bring into being this higher order, that we spread this higher order, this service, this prayer, this presence with all that we meet this day. And so I give thanks to the people who are here that share in this wisdom through CSL St. George and bring it to our community. So I set these blessings free, that they are there, that they are present in each and every one of us. And I let go and I let God in me and in all I see do what it knows to do best. As together we say yes, and so it is.
So it is. Beautiful. Let it free. These words are going to be on screen for you to sing along and just invite them into your heart. God of glory, God of power, God of goodness, God of grace, God of wisdom, God of love, God of life, transcending time and space. God in me, God in me, from the beginning. God of glory, God of power, God of goodness, God of grace, God of wisdom, God of love, God of life, transcending time and space. Amen to that. And now Marina is going to read our Sacred Covenant. Good morning, Marina.
Good morning, Cheryl.
Hi.
That was a great song. I really liked it. Thank you. I'm sitting here in my twisty chair. Well, good morning, everybody. As Chris noted before, our Sacred Covenant is our prayer that we engage in every day, and we have made available to you so that you can say this prayer every day to bring in the minister that we are all praying for. And if you're new, you'll notice that the prayer is in the first person because we believe that we need to become what it is that we're looking for. So we hope that you'll hear it in that frame of mind, and that you will read along with me from your living room or den or patio, wherever you happen to be. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God, I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written, "Let us learn to draw the divine substance down into our lives, and as freely as it is given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole." This is written by our founder, Ernest Holmes. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing the truth about myself. For I live the presence and law of God. I demonstrate the wisdom through a mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibility for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. I embrace. Please express your own personal truth and desire here. I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful. Thank you, Marina. So it is March, and we are doing a new theme and, of course, a new topic. In March, we're going to be open to the possibilities. And today's talk focus is living in the question, a high idea. Father Richard Rohr, who is a spiritual author and leader, he writes, "People who've had a genuine spiritual experience always know that they don't know. They are utterly humbled before mystery. They are in awe before the abyss of it all, in wonder at eternity and depth and a love which is incomprehensible to the mind." Incomprehensible, seriously. And so what do we do with something that's incomprehensible? Well, lucky, it might not be something that our minds can wrap around fully, but it is the language of the heart, and spirit guides us. Ernest Holmes says, "We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice, forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings." And sure enough, divine inspiration is always there and guidance when we need it. What does my life want to be? What is this hope inside of me? Is it joy or blasphemy to think I might be special? A lump of clay, a ray of sun. Either way, we're chosen ones. Divine creation, life begun. A spark, a holy vessel. Come, Spirit, use me, take hold and move me. I want to see with holy eyes and unravel all the lies, to walk in truth. Come, Spirit, do. When the doubt starts creeping in and subtle fear appears to win, I turn my thoughts to the voice within, knowing it knows better. All that's living in my heart is God's design, a work of art. Breath of life right from the start, a soul that lives forever. Come, Spirit, take me, expose and break me, to remind me who I am and ignite the dream at hand. Let love shine through. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, use me, take hold and move me. I want to see with holy eyes and unravel all the lies, to walk in truth. Yes, Spirit, take me, expose and break me, to remind me who I am and ignite the dream at hand. Let love shine through. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, do. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to hand back to you. And
Sure, you know what I want you to
service.
do one of these times? I want you to tell us how do you, these songs, how do you get inspired? What you write these beautiful words. Well, how does that all just come to be? That's, I mean, the words to that song, I want to get them tattooed on my arm.
That one came to me on a walk. I was just kind of, I guess, receptive, you know? And I know that when you pray, you have a similar experience that you just open and you allow. And I just start singing sometimes. That one's particular. I just started singing it. It was incredible. Thank you so much.
It was
I appreciate
beautiful,
that.
beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, honey. Okay, now it's me, and I get to welcome our guest speaker. As we mentioned earlier in service, this is a new month, and the month's topic is open to possibilities. And then today's topic is living in the question, a high idea. It's got to be interesting. It's Joe Kovach speaking. So living in the question. I get it. A high idea. I think I get it. And I'm just excited to hear what you have to say,
It took me
Joe.
a while to get it.
I get it. So give it to me, my brother. Tell us their talk today, and we'll catch up to you later.
Looking forward to it, Chris. Thank you. Appreciate it. And beautiful singing as always, Cheryl. And I like the word she used, receptivity. I think I will stick that in this talk a little bit. So good morning, CSL St. George. It is a beautiful time of year. Spring is coming upon us. There is life. It's just good to be alive, of course, if we hold that thought. And so the topic, as you see, is living in the question, the high idea. And as you heard me kind of allude to with Chris, it took me a little while to really think about this. At first, I was like, oh, that's going to be easy. And there's two parts of this. There's the living in the question part, the living part. And then there's the high idea. And as always, I contemplated and talked it out with my beautiful wife. And what I recognize is that we're always asking questions, always. And it's a never-ending process. This beautiful, infinite life just continues on and on. And from the time we're very little, you know, we have a certain perspective, and we ask questions that are associated with that perspective. It's like the 3-year-old boy who sits, you know, down near a pregnant woman on the bus, and the boy says, "Why do you look so fat?" And the pregnant woman was kind, and she said, "Well, I have a baby inside me." And the boy said, "Well, is it a good baby?" Another fair question, right? And the pregnant woman's kind of confused, and she says, "Well, yes, it's a very good baby." And the boy lovingly said, "Well, then why did you eat it?" So again, depending on the level of consciousness you're at, what you're aware of, there's room to grow. And yet, as we grow, we get older, and the questions become maybe deeper, more personal, more serious, maybe even in nature. Like, why am I here? That's a deep question, a high idea. What about, what is all this life just happening to me about? What's going on here? What is my life all about? What should I be doing with it? What could I be doing with it? Am I doing the right thing? All these high ideas. What's the best thing that I could be doing right now? What's the best way I could be feeling? And we look around for the answers. And what we do know is if we're even searching or in that process of searching, then we're not aligned with that answer yet. That's a powerful word, yet. But notice I say too that we're not aware of it, and we're not currently using that level of awareness. Now that's important because we believe that all is available to us. If we are divine aspects of spirit, right, then we are that spirit in expression. We have access to that. It is literally up to us to kind of rise up, level up, open up. And Cheryl, I'm just sticking it right now, be more receptive on a new level. So it is mine to use, this beautiful light, this beautiful spirit. And it's not necessarily my individual mind. And this is a key part. You know, my small little Joe mind, maybe that idea is not there. But there's definitely ways to reach for a greater understanding for this high idea, to reach and allow in this high idea. So one of the ways I want to talk about is simply visioning, right? And why visioning, to our first slide here, the simple definition is it's a state of active and willful contemplation. So I'm thinking, I have this idea and I'm thinking about it. And what our founder says in the Science of Mind, he says we should take the highest thought, excuse me, we have, and attempt to enlarge on this consciousness until it embraces a more vital concept of reality. Consciousness in this sense means an inner embodiment of ideas. Take that in. And notice that I underlined the word vital. So it's not just, you know, I mean, you could just sit and think. But this vital part, embracing a more vital concept of reality, means you're bringing in more life to it. So I think we would admit that there's a lot, when we focus on something, we give our attention to something in a greater way. In a sense, when we have a greater desire, that burning desire within us that Napoleon Hill talks about, that it enlivens us, and we tend to align with that high idea I will even say in a quicker way, in a more in a perfect way. It's always perfect, and wherever it is, you know, whether you're in the shower or for a walk out in the nature, like Cheryl talked about, it gives us more life. And we're really wanting to, in a positive way, grow. It will happen, and we contemplate it. We take it in. We attempt to enlarge on our consciousness, as Ernest Holmes talks about here. He also says this. He says, this is more than faith. It is the knowledge that we are dealing with the law. While a certain consciousness may be mechanically induced, of course, the more spontaneity put into the mechanical word, the more power the word must have. So this is, to me, when I take this as when he says it's more than faith, it's more than wishful thinking, it's more than even maybe a little believing. It's contemplation that you know there's an answer out there. There has to be. How could it, in this perfect world, how could I hold a question of a high idea and not be aware of it? It must be there. It's calling me. I can feel it. There's that vitality again. And the more spontaneity I put into it, just going all in, the more power I put in the word, and the word comes to me manifest as an idea, as a circumstance that may lead me there, as the right person that invites me into a conversation where this idea just all of a sudden, whammo, there it is. Happens all the time to us. And, you know, there's this idea of contemplation is powerful. Many of the great inventors, you know, use this power of contemplation where they would specifically sit down. They're not, it's kind of a meditation, but it's more of a willful act. I'm kind of controlling things. I want to say it was Carnegie. Somebody used to see a table in front of them with all these certain great people of wisdom that he would invite in, and he literally had lively conversations with them, inviting this high idea. You know, think about another way of looking at this is the idea of our analogy of thought, seed, soil, or seed, soil, and plant, right? So the seed is that thought that we have, and we're planting it in the mind of God, in that soil, that receptivity. It takes everything and says yes to. And the more I shine my light on it, the focus on it, my attention on it, the more I give life to it until it manifests in my mind. So this is a type of visioning, and there's two types of visioning. Notice at the top of the screen, it does say visioning type 1, and we'll come to a second type of visioning in a short bit. But at the same time, I want to realize here that, you know, what happens often is I try this. I want to invite this high idea, but I fail. Maybe I think it was a high idea and it doesn't turn out. I keep trying to connect to this higher idea, and somehow it just like, it always ends up being stuck. You know, I get stuck in this personal story of how I can't do it, of why I'm not worthy enough, of, you know, the circumstances are never right. You know, this victim mentality, and, you know, this lack of worthiness just creeps in and steals away our concentration, our consciousness, that vitalness. It sucks the life out of this idea because I'm not worthy. So how could I really come through with this? I want it, right? But it lacks that burning desire, and I allow it to be taken away, the energy to be taken away from this high idea. So with this, you know, in mind and method, I'm not always living with the high idea, meaning this idea of visioning. It's not all the time. I kind of go to it when I want to. Maybe I need, I'm in a situation where I'm having a problem, a challenge, and I go to it to solve it. But we want to live in the question, as the title of this talk says, right? Living in the question. Maybe I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I have a high idea I want to share with you. And it's something I learned in one of my current classes, Ministry and Diversity. And it's a core concept that is called, the next slide here, embracing dependency. Actually, we go back for a minute because I don't want to turn that out. Sorry, I went backwards. Whoever's on the slides, thank you for keeping it up. So embracing dependency is, when you hear that word, embrace and dependency, even when I first read it, my mind didn't like that word, dependency, right? My mind thinks I'm not, you know, I'm weak, and I'm not weak. And I'm not dependent upon anyone or anything. Isn't this what religious science teaches, right? It empowers us that, we can do this on our own, that I'm not a victim and so forth. And are we really dependent minds? Like, really? And to me, at first, the answer is like, no, I'm not in need of anything. But now I invite you to look at it a different way. And here we go to the next slide. Thank you. What if we look at this as we need to embrace being dependent on the realization, the truth, that we already are one with the spirit of life. See, it's not, when I first hear the word dependency, I think it or me and something else outside of me. So then I'm dependent on that outside thing. But if I'm going to live with this, living in the question, then I'm inviting myself to be one with spirit at all times, because we know that spirit is where the answer is. Source is where the answer is. It's created everything, including this idea that I have that I need something more. And that's not necessarily lack. If I want to grow, I can recognize that I'm at a certain level and I want to grow. That's a positive thing, to expand, to evolve. And therefore, I know there is a path to this. Right? There must be a path if I have this question in my heart and this knowing in my heart. So we embrace dependency. And the more we embrace, like, being dependent upon, okay, being dependent. Notice I said the word being. Okay, that means I'm making it part of myself. It's not necessarily the doing part of it. But as we embrace being dependent on spirit, the more I am acknowledging my union with it, the more I am tuning into this idea of co-creating this life with Source, who without I am nothing anyway. I am literally no thing without my creator. And whatever you want to call your creator, the more I learn, the more I recognize too that I feel comfortable with certain words, and then I also feel the limitation in a single word, whether it's God or Father or Mother, Father, or Source, or whatever it is. Whatever fulfills your heart with the greatest level of joy, whatever that word is, use that. And as we become this, we use this dependency regularly, right? Because it's going to take some practice, right? To recognize that I'm working in union with this action part of spirit, with the mind and the action of spirit. And in science of mind and spirit, this is what we call the law. The law is the action part. In Christianity, we kind of liken it to the Holy Spirit. All right, it's that part that, we recognize as we cast our seeds into the soil. It's the soil saying, yes, I love that idea. Embrace it, and here it is. And then the receptivity part is up to us to receive the high idea, to receive what we're asking for. Thomas Troward, one of the great people of wisdom that Ernest Holmes looked to for his information while creating this philosophy, stated that we are all distributors of the divine essence. We're distributing that. We already are that. We're this channel, in a sense, of it. So we're it and we're the channel. We're all of that. As we embrace that, there is no it and me, my mind and its mind, my idea and its idea. It begins to become one with everything. Embracing dependence. Now, what Ernest Holmes has to say on embracing is this. He says, stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. I read that and I was kind of like, that was a pretty firm statement right there. I'm going to read it one more time. Stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. An attitude. And as I've been taught, an attitude is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, all in one. A lot of times when we were children, a teacher would say, change your attitude. A parent would say, change your attitude. And I would always think it as just what I was doing, right? But if you think about it, in order to change what I'm doing, I have to change how I'm thinking and feeling, or else I'm not going to want to change. I have to be in alignment with that idea. So Now we take on this idea of living in the question as an attitude. It's something that we need to embrace fully. And again, being embraced, being dependent upon this source of all anyway, which has the answer, not only the answer of this high idea, but everything that, in a sense, will support this high idea showing up in my life and while it's in my life. It's literally perfect. It's the whole package when we embrace it. So now I want to invite you to understand a second level of visioning. And this level of visioning comes from our own Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. And this type of visioning, if you've been in the practice of science of mind, you've probably done it once or twice. And it's pretty powerful. In fact, in a sense, as CSL St. George looks at is seeking further to minister, it is I'm sure you have vision for it. And so I just want to make sure that everyone's aware because it's such a powerful tool. So in this idea, this visioning process, it's practical. We no longer are just using our mind. I'm not just thinking about things and what it could be and contemplating, which isn't bad, and that's perfect in some times. And again, though, we notice that's kind of more of a spotty way of living in the question. We want to live in it full time. And so we can literally vision all the time. And there's 5 questions associated with this. And as we look at these questions, for example, the first one, what is God's highest idea, God's highest vision for? And then you fill in the blank with whatever it is that you're seeking. So I remember when we were first beginning CSL Southern Nevada, right out of my own living room for the first several months, we met weekly and we visioned. And we would ask ourselves these questions. And so one thing I want you to notice that the power comes from focusing and allowing life force into the question itself. Right? So if we start with a personalized question, how can I know the pure presence of spirit in my life more? That's a powerful question. Right? And it's not just, the wording of the question, but the power of the question itself. Right? So that in and of itself, it's a powerful question. And the power comes from the power of focusing, again, of allowing spirit's energy to flow through to and as us into that high idea for us, into the question, or through the question, and into the answer that presents itself. And now the fun of this type of visioning is the way things show up. So our job is to get in a very quiet place and ask these questions, and then be receptive, thank you again, Cheryl, for the answer. Because the other limiting thing, the way we limit ourselves is we want this high idea, and yet we think it's going to come in this nice little shiny wrapper and box. It's going to come in this way. I know it. And even we're using ourselves, possibly maybe enthusiastic, we may also be limiting what the divine has for us. So meaning, we recognize that we're in this fine point of reality here on this earth, in this life, and yet we know the expansiveness of source itself. And so it has a satellite view of our entire life and every life going on, and it's going to deliver the answer in the best and the highest way and personal way. So we make it a part of ourselves, a part of our life. So it may show, you may receive a smell, you may receive a color, you may receive a word or a sentence, or a short little vignette I get sometimes, just a short little movie that happens. And you log those, you write those down because you're going to look and later contemplate on those. You may know right in the moment what it means, and sometimes it doesn't. Like you just get all of a sudden you get a color orange, and then later life will line it up. You'll be like, oh, you see something orange, which draws you in your circumstance and brings you to this understanding that helps you with this high idea. What's another positive, deep question we can ask ourselves? Something like, I have the passion to do whatever that is. What's the best thing I could do for that now? That's a powerful question to ask yourself. And so I just want to go through some of the questions here again. Number one is, what is God's highest idea, God's highest vision? And again, if you don't like the word God, replace it for whatever makes you feel great. Number two, you move on through. What must I become in order to empower this vision, this high idea? What must I do? And then you sit in receptivity to that idea. I mean, this is simple and it's profound. Profound results. The next question, what must I release? I mentioned one thing already. Maybe it's the way I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm expecting it to come in through this window over here and something else is pounding on my door, but I got my attention on looking out the window. What must I release? And again, be open to the answers that we receive. This is a life that is living in process constantly, and we are a part of it, and we are going to change. And this is about being open to change so that we can be one with this high idea of letting in the presence of God everywhere in our lives, as we're talking about it right here and right now. And again, we can open this visioning up to anything. Number four, after we talk about what we release, what must I embrace? What maybe new thing must I understand? Or maybe something that I used to do and I fell out of habit with? So it's no longer really a part of my livingness. I stopped doing it. Maybe I don't meditate as much anymore, and my mind and my body and my spirit need that time. Maybe I'm not taking care of myself physically as well as I can. Maybe I'm not having enough fun, right? Maybe I'm not having enough fun. So what must I embrace? And finally, just simply, is there anything else? Anything else that maybe I wasn't catching in the first place and I'm being open to it? So this is another powerful form of visioning that you can do it periodically, but after a while, you almost become one with it. I'm constantly asking myself in a state of, even when I'm working, okay, what's the best thing I can do right now? Being open to it, not only whatever it is, but being open to what I need to release, remove from a blockage for me to be able to do something or feel something, experience something. What maybe something new do I have to embrace? Again, maybe it's going to come through somebody, let's say if I'm at work and I'm not usually like, I don't know about that person, I'll work with them. And then all of a sudden something changes and I embrace a conversation with this person and realize there's so much more than my little mind thought they were, right? That's how spirit shows up when we're receptive to it, when we're open to living in this constant question of what now, how can I experience a freer, fuller life? How can I understand inclusion or diversity? These are topics right now that make me feel comfortable. How can I honor my neighbor? How can I love myself first so that I may love my neighbor next? These are powerful questions. And then as we learn to live in them, we stay open to them, to this constant receiving of new ideas so that we're constantly involved and evolving. So let's go back now, though, with this idea in mind, back to the quote. I don't think I included it, or is it out of order? 1 second here. No, I messed up somewhere. So I'm going to go back real quick, if I can, to this. Using this same, we used it for the first visioning. I want to use it to the second visioning now, too. Return to it. This is more than faith. It is acknowledging that we are dealing with the law still. While a certain consciousness may be mechanically induced, of course, the more spontaneity put into the mechanical word, the more power the word must have. So again, even with this type of visioning, it comes back to our energy of it, our being open to it, right? That attitude again, as we're visioning, we're just fully surrendering to this, knowing that there's an answer. Because I want to live this presence. I want to be freer, more fuller. And I know that's within me. It's an inside job, as we know. So that leads me to the last part here that I want to get to, and I got to forward through it. Okay. Fun and flow. Ernest Holmes says about this is the way to proceed to this high idea is to begin right where we are. It's not scientific to attempt to begin somewhere else. One who understands the systematic use of the law will understand that he is where he is because of what he is. but he will not say, I must remain where I am because of what I am. Now that's a little confusing, so I'm going to leave it up there for a minute while I kind of take it in and explain it to you. In other words, we know what the law is. We understand how the law works. And at the same time, we can use that to understand I am where I am because of the use of this law. I put myself here, wherever that is. But I have this high idea, and I will not say I'm here because of what I am, it's who I am. In other words, I know that I can continue. If the law put me here, the law will take me out. And yet it's an inside job for me to evolve with a higher, more profound question and then live that question. Living in the question, again, is making this an attitude of recognizing that there is this presence of God, this infinite potentiality of life, that there is this thing called the law, that as I know my thought, as I masterfully use my thought, I can only be where I am. I have to start right here. I may want to be over there, and that's okay. That's perfect. And at the same time, I'm going to use the law to know that I'm moving through this life, that I am raising my awareness, that I am creating a higher vibration of love and light in my life, within my body temple, within my spirit temple, so that others may also benefit of it. I know that this life is limitless. I am limitless. And I know that the use of this law to change my experience is perfect. The seed that I plant in the soil must grow what it represents. If it's a seed of prosperity, then it must grow prosperity, excuse me. And yet I have to continue to gaze my focus upon it and know it and incorporate that into my entire attitude. It's an attitude of life. So he also says this about being in this attitude, Ernest Holmes does. He says, I'm going to use she will automatically be lifted out of her condition. Impelling forces sweeping everything before them will set her free if she trusts in spirit and the working of the law. So again, this attitude is one of trust. We have to be able to, as that one visioning question, what must I release? We have to be able to release the sense of control. If we have this high idea, okay, and I can accept where I am, I have to be willing to say, here it is, and here it is, right? Here it is, and here it is. I release it. I let it go. It's trust, right? He said earlier, there's nothing more important than understanding this attitude. And recognizing as we trust that life will absolutely clear the way for us in the perfect way as we continue to trust. We must stay in that continuance. So finally, just a simple analogy, right? It's like we're in school. You start off at school and you're elementary school, and it's fun and it's playtime all the time. And yet you still look up and you see the older kids and they're working hard, but they're kind of having a different kind of experience and they're still having fun. And you want that. And you can contemplate that. You sit in that and eventually you get there, right? You get to that new level of vibration of beingness. And then you're in it for a little while and you're experiencing it for a little while. And yet there comes high school, a whole new thing. And you say, I want to experience some of that. And yet you can only begin where you are right now. You're preparing for it right now. And as you earn the way, and it's earning meaning not a level of worthiness. We know we're worthy, but just clearing the way for our mind to accept it. And that's kind of what we're doing. Life is never ending. There's no end to this. It's beautiful. And so, I was thinking about this analogy, the big questions of, how do we get there and realize that, like, again, even like this school phase, this life phase is never ending. And a big question is, often what should I do with my life? And then more questions come. And then this analogy led me to a really profound thought that I want to share and end this on is, sip on this for a moment. What if every thought is a high idea? Every thought. If it's all God, it's all good. Every thought will lead to a higher thought, evolve to a higher thought, evolve to a greater feeling. And I wish this And I know this. I don't have to wish it. I know this is exactly what's happening in our lives. So let's move into prayer. I ask you to just take a deep breath, bring in all the life that you can, releasing what we no longer need, and knowing that this life is absolutely perfect. It has everything that I need in it right here, right now. No matter what it looks like, I know that it leads to good right here and right now. That I'm open to this high idea of experiencing that which I call God in the most perfect way in my life right here, right now. I know this presence of spirit as perfect health, as perfect wealth, as prosperity, as love, as rich friendships, as a brand new minister showing up for CSL St. George. The perfect minister for CSL St. George is on their way right now. Blessing this community right where it is with their profound questions, with their high ideas that they're not afraid to share because they're courageous, that this living in this question becomes a way of being so that we may open to this greater vibration of light and love and oneness with all. I know this, I claim it to be true, and I courageously release it to the law, which always says yes. And so it is. Thank you, my friends. Namaste.
Whoa.
Well,
No, man. Another good one. You know, people don't understand. Like, and I mentioned this last time. When I was talking here, was that we have like our own language, but what people don't understand is that in order to become a practitioner, you have to take 2 years of prerequisites, which are just like courses to kind of get you prepared to go to prac school, and then prac school leads you into ministerial school, and all these ideas that you share. We continue to grow and to learn and to practice these things. It's not just understanding what you're saying. It's a powerful process that we practice,
yeah.
And I mean, visioning and your talk was just so good and so powerful. I'm reading the Quantum Revelation by, what is his name? Paul Levy.
Mhm.
If you haven't read it, it's kind of cool. And it's sort of it's marrying what your talk was about today, sort of. I mean, I redo the first and second chapter. I'm like my fifth time of redoing the first and second chapter. So it's a lot to understand this teaching and this philosophy. And so people are out there and you're like, what the heck are we talking about? Or this is some deep stuff. Just let it absorb. Just let little bits and pieces come in, because you'll hear them and you'll know they're true. And
we have to start right where we are. And the best way is just to do what you do well. Have fun. That's what it opens up.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, my brother. Look forward to seeing you in the Zoom meeting.
Yes, join us, please.
What'd you say?
I said, join us, please, at the Zoom meeting.
Oh, yes. Everyone join us. We got a little banner. All right, everybody. Great talk by Joe once again. And like he mentioned, our Zoom meeting, we can talk about things and go over in more detail what he specifically was saying. So this comes a point in our service where we're campaigning, calling Spread the Love. We do look forward to your donations. It's your donations that keep talks like this, keep speakers like Joe and Elijah, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on of all these great speakers who are coming to our center via Zoom. Or actually StreamYard is what we use. So there's several different ways you can give. You can give by text, you can give online on Breeze or PayPal. The CSLSG.org is our website. Real easy. And if you'd like, you can just go ahead and mail a check to the P.O. Box 3132 in St. George, 84771. And it's time for announcements. Okay, now this kind of plays into everything too. Sue Fulmer, who I'm sure is listening, this book and the timing, spot on. Joe's talk, the conversations that we're having, the topics this month, all work really, really well with this book. It's one of my favorite books in prac school, The Untethered Soul. And the best part about it is reading it and then having dialogue with your peers and going over some of this stuff and how powerful it is. And the reason I'm actually reading the Quantum Revelation is because I want to sort of in conversation, sort of marry those ideas. So join us. It starts this, is that tomorrow? No, Tuesday, day after tomorrow. And it's from 6 and 7. It's on Zoom. And if you want more details, you can call Sue or contact Sue by email at suegfulmer@gmail.com if you've got any questions. And you can come as you'd like. You don't have to attend every week. So that's kind of a good thing too. If you know anyone who's looking for a pulpit, so to speak, or who's looking for a congregation, hello, we're right here. We are such a powerful group of people. It's, we're small but mighty, and the team of people who are running the center, even though we're not at a physical location, but we're doing these things. It's just, it's magical. It's magical. So if you're a minister or you know a minister out there, send them our way. We've talked about it a couple times, the Zoom meeting. The Zoom link is in the newsletter, and you can also go to the homepage. It's easy to find since they've updated the website. If you just go to CSLSG.org, you can easily find the link, which will take you right into the Zoom meeting where Joe will be and several of us having conversation in more depth as far as the talk that Joe gave us today. Also, if you're having any kind of struggles or family, or someone who is, we do have a community care circle. They are there. They're here for you. They provide compassionate support, and they'll call, and they can send cards, and they'll do prayer, and get you hooked up with a practitioner. Speaking of which, we, the practitioners, are here always. If you need something that, I don't want to say need something, but if there's something, heavy on your heart or light on your heart or joyous on your heart that you'd like some affirmative prayer behind, just send an email to the prayer at CSLSGeorge.org. And I promise you those prayers will get put out and they will be answered. Also, you can call that number. Next Sunday, Reverend Elijah Christopher, Release and Let Go. Sounds like a simple little topic, but I guarantee you it will be a very deep, thought-provoking idea wrapped around releasing and letting go. It won't just be one level, it will be multi-leveled. And then the following Sunday will be Eugene Holden, who writes for Science of Mind magazine, who's becoming a regular guest with us, who also does super powerful talks, and he'll be talking about With Open Arms. So join us on March 24th for him, 21st for him, and March 14th for Reverend Elijah Christopher. And now, this is where we go, ping, 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 and everybody comes in, and we all read the closing affirmation together. And I generally, hi, you guys.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, everybody.
All right, we're going to start the closing affirmation, close our service out. I'm going to start with the first line, which is, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind, life is in my body, life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you, life. Love you guys. Fun day. Good service. Come see us next Sunday. Join us for Zoom. We love you. Over and out. We will be out of here in 2 seconds. Marina, take us away.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Blessings.